Joining me right now with reaction to all of it is none other than House Judiciary Committee member, Congressman from Florida, Matt Gaetz. Good to see you, Congressman.
Thanks for having me.
Right? This is what bugs me. And you know what? I'm going to just tell you this. Like, I'm not being political about it, okay? No politics. I'm talking about economics here and how we continue growing as a country and we help the people in the middle, right? It has nothing to do, I say, fundamentally with politics and everything to do with economic prosperity. And I don't believe AOC or Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren have a clue about economic prosperity and don't fundamentally even care about it. What's your thought?
There is a war on prosperity right now in the Democratic primary, and they're all trying to have an arms race against one another to attack people in our country who do well. But the good news is that Donald Trump is presiding over a blue-collar boom in our country. We're seeing wealth accumulated and wages rising faster for people who have those blue-collar jobs, who just want to play by the rules and ensure that their family has got a fair shake. You know, you had Don Lemon on. Don Lemon is not a journalist. He is a hack. He is like CNN's professional eye roller who always wants to gasp himself out of breath at everything he sees from the president.
I do believe he hit his head. Do we have that video? He kind of like hit his head. He was laughing so hard it slammed onto the desk.
But it is so indicative of the fact that they have contempt not just for this president, not just for his allies in the Congress, but they have utter contempt for the people who voted for this president, and ultimately they have contempt for their own viewers, which is probably why viewers are leaving CNN at such a fast rate.
There
exactly.
you go. Yeah, no, you got to kind of like the people themselves, right? And I think that that's one of the successes of Donald Trump. I think he actually fundamentally cares and seems to like the middle class, whereas you see this sort of disdain, if you would, you know, for anybody who's really out there trying to do things the right way. And that's what they lose in all this. You know, they want to say that Trump supporters are racist, that they're homophobic, Islamophobic. I mean, we could cue the deplorable soundbite, right, from Hillary Clinton. We all remember that very well. But that's really, I think, what they believe. And it seems so out of touch to me because, you know, I meet supporters of the president all over the country all the time. And they're some of the nicest, most down-to-earth, genuine people. And to think that CNN is out there making fun of them like they did last night and frankly every other day, it's not right.
Donald Trump isn't just leading a campaign, he is presiding over a political movement. That's why we've only gained strength leading into 2020 and why this impeachment sham is only intensifying our support for our transformational president. Because in real America, we see things happening that will impact our lives. A better trade deal in our hemisphere, actually standing up to China, President Trump functionally ending our involvement in the Syrian civil war and not starting any new forever wars. These elements of an American nationalist economic agenda paired with a realistic view of the world where we kill the terrorists and actually come home to bring the resources to our country, that is going to fuel a transformational victory in 2020. And you know what? After the Democrats have impeached Trump and he comes back and wins anyway, wait till you get wait till we get a load of Donald Trump in his second term. I think we're going to be even more transformative in the way that we change Washington, D.C. and America for the better.
But this is why I think it's important that people are motivated because we really are at risk of a constitutional crisis. I would argue that they put us in a constitutional crisis, right? I mean, you're there in the House. Nancy Pelosi hanging on to the darn articles of impeachment, effectively, possibly getting us closer and closer to that constitutional crisis, finally turning them over to the Senate. But what cracks me up about it, Congressman, is that they're now going on and on and on about how they want to bring witnesses. They had the opportunity to bring witnesses, and they did not take it.
Democrats do not have a compelling case factually, and so they have to continue to manufacture a new bombshell du jour for every day so that they can try to keep people's interest in something that fundamentally doesn't impact our lives. Again, we're focused on wages, the economy, prosperity for the American people, and Democrats are having a policy disagreement over who perceived what about how to make the Ukraine great again. And I think that they are showing through these impeachment proceedings how far they've gotten away from the kitchen table issues that will lead to the reelection of the president.
Yeah, and by the way, you want to know who helped Ukraine? It wasn't President Obama.
No, you nailed it. Donald Trump delivered the lethal aid to the Ukraine that President Obama would not do because he didn't want to frighten Russia. Again, you see with President Trump, tough engagement where necessary, but a realistic view of the world where we're not going to hand the 21st century over to China by overexerting our military. We're going to be smarter and we're going to be better for our country.
Strategic. That's what you've got to be.